my theory is they needed to change the narrative. They needed to put, as Bruce would say, a new coat of paint on.
Oh, more than new coat.
But think about when Papa John's got in trouble because the owner was an idiot and said some things you're never supposed to say. And boy, it could have kiboshed the whole thing. Cost a lot of people a lot of jobs, cost a lot of investors a lot of money. They turned to one of America's most beloved people in Shaquille O'Neal. He became the new face of the brand, and Papa John's is enjoying great success now. I think you could study that pivot and say, boy, this is how it's done. I don't want anyone or any business or any jobs or anything like that ever to be in crisis. But as far as the most successful pivot in a moment of crisis, I think you could look at the Papa John's thing and say, there's the blueprint. Having said all of that, I think that's what they did with The Rock here. Because let's just keep peeling the layers of the onion. Endeavor reps The Rock. The Rock is the biggest movie star in the world. The movie business is changing. People aren't going out to the theaters as often as they once were. The big push now is in streaming. Remind me again, where did WWE just get their new big deal for $5 billion? Was that or was that not a streaming platform that does movies and other content? Now, did they do that deal with WWE or did they do that deal with TKO? And is TKO not owned by Endeavor, the same place that reps The Rock? To me, if you just follow this, it's logical that perhaps WWE brass knew, or TKO brass more specifically knew, we got a real PR problem that's going, the shoe is going to drop at some point. Let's get in front of that and let's leverage The Rock and his history with WWE and land a landmark deal with a streaming service that could not only get WWE programming, but it gets Endeavor in business with Netflix in a permanent way and keeps their biggest star, for lack of a better word, sticky. Because what Endeavor doesn't want is for The Rock to go across the street to another agency. So I'm just saying all of that to say, I believe that the reason we had a nonsensical promo on Monday with Seth and Cody is not because Seth in story wanted to lose his belt to Cody. What? They had to say, okay, we need to keep this momentum going. And if he's on the board and he's now the face of the company, we got to slot him into that WrestleMania main event. You and I have also said that the Bloodline is one of, if not the best WWE story in history. But I want you to answer this honestly, Jeff. Do you think the Bloodline story is hotter now or a year ago with Sami Zayn?
Oh, I that came up this weekend conversation with Karen, and she looked at me and said, "Huh?" I said, "Sami Zayn. You can go back and look at, and I'm not the movie guy, but I'd have studied this, like Scene Stealers and Most Outstanding. Sami Zayn was the straw that stirred that bloodline week after week after week. He's the fish out of water. What? Sami Zayn, this guy in the bloodline? Wait, with bloodline goes back 3 generations, and wasn't that Rock's granddad? Yeah, and then the Wild Samoans, and then Umaga and Rikishi, and oh wow, look at all these stars. Wait, you mean to tell me Yokozuna? That dude, I mean, just the lineage of it, and then Sammy's in there and his charisma. So yes, I got long-winded there, Connie, but the bloodline story a year ago was episodic, must-see segment every week.
True or false, The Rock was rumored to be Roman's opponent last year at WrestleMania.
True.
True or false, The Rock was rumored to be Roman's opponent the year before that at WrestleMania. This bloodline thing, that's what I'm saying. We're years in.
Yeah, you're
this
right.
Is the match we've always wanted, but The Rock would never commit. The terms have changed now. It's no longer just a payday. He's got a little time and a little gap in his filming schedule. He's got some things. He's got some opportunities. And all of a sudden, not only is he the biggest star in the world, but the WWE has a bunch of international PLEs coming up. Yes, this month we've got Australia, but in a couple of months, we're going to France. And right after that, not too long in July, we're going to be in Canada.
Germany.
And yeah. So my point is, he's a mega star in all of those places. I want to stand on business here, Jeff.
Okay.
The Rock is a huge star and a great get for WWE. This is a 10 out of 10 opportunity. This is way bigger than the Shaq thing for Papa John's. You got The Rock. I love it. However, there's no way you can convince me that as busy of a schedule as that guy has, between all his movies, all his brands, all his businesses, his football league, his tequila company, his production company, on and on and on. That dude's sitting down watching 3 hours of Monday Night Raw every week. I don't buy it.
Zero chance.
Zero chance. So I'm saying all that to say, I think he comes back. Part of the understanding is this is what we're going to do because it's the dream match that everybody wants to see. And it was last year and the year before that. But I almost feel like, and I want your opinion. We talked to guys like Bruce Pritchard once before, and it's like, hey, why did Jake never win the title? And he would always say, he didn't need it. Do you think the bloodline story with Rock and Roman needs the title? I don't.
So before we go down or I answer that, I want to back all the way up because, and look, Conrad, you're great at leading a conversation logically and I'll say maybe episodically and timeline. But Saturday morning, I got back from the gym and Karen said, did you see that stat about that video? It's at whatever the most dislikes in the history of WWE YouTube. It's like what? And I went, oh my God, there's some happy folks in Stamford. And she said, what? And she literally followed me out of the bedroom into the kitchen. She said, because the night before, you know, we watch our, Cody loves it, watch our SmackDown, watch Rampage. My daughter played basketball. She had a game, so I'm watching that until Rampage come on. But we had all the screens going and all that. And I'll just say this. Karen had a lot of Conrad in her on Friday night. She was not happy. Cody Rhodes is one of my Cody's and has been for a while favorite wrestlers. So there was a thumbs down in this house immediately. But I said, oh, wow, Stanford's got to be happy with that. What engagement it's creating. She said, yeah, but it's all that's negative. I said, now, wait a minute. And I got out my phone and I said, honey, we've got 9 Raws and 9 SmackDowns to go.
And the pay-per-view.
And the pay-per-view, yeah. We got 18, 19 to go. So it's a long, long, long way from Cody not wrestling Roman. I'm just not buying that right now at all.
Well, let me say this too, though. You were just making an example about Darby, and I loved it because you really drilled in what this Sting run did in AEW. Yes, it got new fans who grew up as fans of Sting and they love nostalgia of wrestling and they checked out AEW. You serviced the hardcore Sting fans that never left. That's great for AEW and for Sting. But he effectively, as you said over and over, gave the rub to Darby Allin over and over and over and over. Respectfully, Roman's here a handful of days a year. Cody's at every single event.
Yeah, no.
There's a lot of opportunities here, but it's going to be a pivot because what we saw felt very Daniel Bryan 2014 to me.